Kate McDowell from Align Natural Health, and I have Matt with me today. And
Hi
introduce
guys.
yourself.
Sure, I'm Matt. I am the CEO of Honor Your Health in Pennsylvania, United States.
Awesome. I'm in
Yeah,
Ontario, Canada, so we're talking to you from all parts. Well,
we're
not all.
killing it.
Yeah, both sides of North America. And yeah, we just wanted to have a conversation basically tonight about rebalancing your body and the things that are really important, especially this time of year, that people often don't even recognize sometimes too. So, yeah, the first thing that we wanted to talk about is detox.
Yes,
And it's such a buzzword.
and it's so misconstrued and misconcept. Like everyone, like I don't know about you, but I feel like this whole drink a green juice is like that's not a detox. Like that's not detoxing. That's I don't even know. I don't even know what to call that.
Yeah.
And it's
It,
hilarious.
it's become so commercialized too,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like,
It's become like and it's so funny because I have clients, I don't know about you, but I have clients that come in, or that I should say that have come in the past before I start, working with them. And they'll say things like, "Oh, I have this naked green juice." And I'm like, "Do you know how much sugar is in that naked green juice?"
yeah.
And when you educate, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And I'm like, and they're like, and every time I ask them, they're like, "Oh," like I ask them, like, "Do you crash after this?" And they're like, "Actually, yeah, I do." And I'm like, because it's loaded with sugar.
Yeah. And Amanda commented, it's all marketing. And it's so
So
true.
true.
And it's unfortunate that we've gotten to the point where anything, like we go through phases where vegan became a really big trend. And so you've got like plant-based things everywhere. And then there's things labeled keto everywhere. And just because they've slapped this label on it, like the naked juice, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds amazing. But yeah, you actually still need to take a look and see what you're getting because
Right.
they're not cleaner. They're just
They're not
like,
clean at all.
no,
I
they're
wouldn't even
just
use the
trying
word
to make it
clean with
seem
it.
that way. Yeah. And I remember, like, even in nutrition school, a lot of the times that's what my professors would say. Like, if you see a product that has some like fancy health label on it or says, added vitamins or whatever, it's like
Yep.
that's, right away
They're
that
after you.
the whole point of that is to make money because they're like, oh, the healthy people will be all over this. Right.
And
And
they were.
yeah, and it's not for your best interest.
I hate to say it, but people fell for it. And they continue to fall for it,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but we have, even around here, we have like honey grow and stuff like that, which are like these like salad based things. And, listen, every now and then, and I do mean like every now and then, I don't eat them every week, but every now and then I'm craving some greens, right? And again, that's a lie that we've been taught is like,
Mhm.
eat your greens, eat your greens. And like, every now and then, right? Like I'm not here to attack everybody, but like every now and then I have some greens or some vegetables. But I don't know about you, but I think we actually had a conversation recently
Yes,
where it
you
was
do.
like I had a piece of like broccoli and I thought I was gonna die.
It's so true. Well, the thing is they're not the greens that they used to be anymore either. That's part of the problem, which is part of what our title of this is. We're talking about glyphosate,
Yes,
right?
Amanda,
And
give me my meat.
yeah, I had a salad I don't know why. I woke up, I think it's because, I was at work and someone was saying, "Oh, the salads are on sale." And I was like, "You know what? That's a good idea. Maybe I'll have a salad."
That's a good idea.
No, it wasn't. The next day, I stopped and got a salad, and my stomach was destroyed for like 2 days after eating a Greek salad, and I don't eat I put my own olive oil and a little bit of balsamic vinegar on it. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
put the commercial dressing. I I was a disaster afterwards, and it's like
Yep.
and Amanda said to me, "Don't eat leaves. Come on." But But it's like, we're so conditioned to think that, yeah, that salads and vegetables and that's the
And
healthiest
like
way to eat.
rice and all these carbs are just so healthy for you.
Yeah.
Eye roll. Like if people, and we're going to talk about this in a second, but if people only knew the con of why they want you to eat salad and all this junk, they would be blown away. Like, as far as I can see, like, and we'll just get right to it. Like, I'll just say the word glyphosate because I don't think people really get the weight and understand like what that is doing in their body.
Yeah.
I've read I mean, I'm sure you have too, like so many books on glyphosate, and like it's everywhere. People are like, oh, well, I didn't get bit by a tick. And I'm like, you don't need to get bit by a tick. And you don't, like, it's everywhere, including Lyme, like all these things that are like in our everyday food that people don't even know.
Yeah. And like glyphosate too, it's an antibiotic.
Yeah, it's patented.
Yeah. And so people don't realize that like you're eating rice, you're eating grains, you're
Which also
eating
has arsenic in it, by the way.
all of all of these vegetables and you're consuming these toxins
Yep.
all of the time. And that's where when we're talking about like what's actually a detox, this is why the green juices or the celery juice, I'm going to get attacked for that probably because I know that's a medical medium. It's he
Everyone's
swears
obsessed
by
with
it.
that.
But ultimately, like this stuff is full of poison,
Full
basically,
of it.
and you're putting it into your system. Like, okay, I detoxed. Oh yeah, no, you know what? I had like diarrhea for a couple days. I cleared myself out. No, no, no. Your body is like, I don't know what to do with the things that you're putting in me, right?
I don't. Again, this is where it's like I don't think people realize, and I know it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, right? It's a hard pill to swallow when you realize like everything's a lie. Like
Yeah.
when you realize that you're like, but then to me, I don't know about you, but like for me, when I started to realize it and I started to feel better, I was like, huh, maybe I have been lied to my whole life. You know what I mean? Like, because things start to make sense. Like, I have more clients on like eating meat than ever before, and they're like, what? I feel so good. And I'm like, right. I said, and I always tell people, I'm just like, try it for a month and see how you feel. Just a month or even a week and see how you feel. Right? It's,
Exactly.
we've just been so, I feel like we've been so like, yes, do the opposite of what they tell you. Exactly right. It's so true. Like someone said to me the other day, she was like, Matt, do you like when you see on the bottle, like it doesn't say like FDA approved? And I'm like, to be honest, and I might kick you off for this. I'm like, to be honest, I don't ever buy anything that says FDA approved.
Yeah. If they're okay with it, it's probably not good. It's not
And vice
what's gonna
versa. If they are okay with it, or if they're not okay with it, you probably should do it, you know?
yeah. Because ultimately, like medicine, it's made for emergencies.
Yep.
And so, but the problem is that in North America, we've gotten, especially in other parts of the world too, but we've gotten to the point where we use emergency medicine for everything. And so
Everything's an emergency.
it's another reason why that our guts are messed up.
Yep.
Our systems are messed up because our bodies are like trying to get us better and they're trying to do things to help us. And that's the medical model is like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
let's stop your symptoms rather than saying, why do you have the symptoms? Oh, your body's trying to get rid of the fever. Your body's trying to
Right.
get rid of the cold or the cough or whatever. And it's like, oh, let's take cough syrup to make the cough go away.
Right.
It's
To
trying to do
band-aid it
something for you.
and suppress it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, yeah,
Well,
that's
and
very
again,
much.
it's like going back to when you said about glyphosate being like patented. It's like people don't
Mhm.
realize that because it's an antibiotic, it's doing the same thing that like you throw an Advil in. It's the same thing. It's gonna do the same thing, possibly worse, honestly, as far as I have researched. I'm sure you have too, right?
Yeah.
It does 10 times worse because there's more in, I mean, granted, like Advil is like a synthetic metal or a synthetic chemical, right? So like obviously it's doing tons of damage, but then you have the glyphosate side of things where it's like not only is it destroying your gut, but then you have access to like Lyme and you have access to parasites and you have
Parasites.
access to mold, and it just opens every crevice of these things to just get in there and just wreak havoc. And then people are like, well, why do I have this tire around my waist? Or why do I have, and I'm like, because your gut is so open and it's like just leaking. Everything is leaking into that. And people think, oh, well, it's because I have leaky gut. And most people, it's such a trigger word now.
Mhm.
Everyone's like, oh, I have leaky gut. I'm like, okay, we all have leaky gut. Like, name someone that doesn't have leaky gut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like they've tried to get us to like use all these buzzwords instead of getting to the root.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
Exactly. And I mean, we've talked about a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, we've talked about a few of the toxins and the reasons why we need to detox our bodies because the glyphosate, like, it's on so many things. Our
Mhm.
food, we breathe it in, it's in the air.
Drink it.
If you golf, I know you have a story around that. If your kids play soccer, like, we're coming in contact with glyphosate all the time. And think about what it's meant to do. It's meant to kill pesticide, or it's a pesticide, so it's meant to kill the bugs, right?
Mhm.
That are on the crops so that they don't get eaten. What's inside of us? A microbiome that's all.
Bugs.
So
Yeah.
you're killing your gut bacteria, and like 90% of our immune system is in our gut, and our neurotransmitters are formed in our gut, and so much of our health comes from our gut. And so when we're consuming and coming in contact with glyphosate all of the time, our body is being broken down. That's
100%. And then again, gut brain axis.
Mhm.
And then people are like, how come I have brain fog? And I'm like, okay, back to what you just said. You have glyphosate in your body, your bugs are being destroyed, so you can't think properly, you can't digest properly. Like it all makes sense when you just think about what glyphosate is doing to you. And again, we're coming into summertime, guys. Like it's hot, your pores are open, your skin is fully accessible to getting all these things, especially glyphosate. Playing sports, playing golf, playing whatever, like just even walking, going for a walk, like you're being exposed to this stuff every day. So when people are like, oh, I did a week detox, it's not enough.
Mhm.
It's just not enough. And again, that's where we've been sort of lied to and saying, oh, you just do a 3-day detox.
Yeah.
I'm
What's
sorry.
that
What?
gonna do?
It's like my world of like, I'm gonna use the word fitness, right? Because it's been totally just destroyed. Um, where people are like, oh, I want to be fit in 30, 60, 90 days. It's like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. But everyone has been pushed this like lie that you are going to be healthy in 30 days. It's like, no, no, it's a long game. You have to think about it. And I feel like we always tell people it's a long game. This is not like a short, like fix it. And we're actually not even here to fix you. We're here to just guide you on that journey of getting your body balanced and of getting these toxins out. Because Kate and I can both attest, it's not an easy journey, right? It's worth it because of like, I mean, you have an amazing story, right? And I would actually love to hear more about it because it's brilliant what you came out of, right? um but people don't know, like, the work it takes,
Mhm.
the investment that it takes, because it does. Like, we're not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. It's an investment, but
Yeah.
but you can't be afraid of that, right? Your health and your work are too important for you to not feel amazing. And when you feel amazing, you do amazing work. When you feel amazing, you can actually go to work, right? It's amazing. It is, as Amanda said, it's mindset. It's key.
It is. It is too. I mean, and what you said about like 30 days, you're not gonna totally change your life. It's not gonna
No,
happen. But you have to start somewhere,
true.
right? And like
Yep.
you said, sometimes to say to a client, like, try just eating meat, or try changing your diet. And it doesn't have to be a complete overhaul, but like, let's make some changes. Try it for 30 days and see how you feel. Because
Mm-hmm.
30 days, especially diet, 30 days of making
Oh,
changes,
you'll see huge stuff.
you will see huge difference. Brain fog can clear up. I mean, for me, that was how I started because it took me a few years, but how I started to reverse my MS symptoms and come off the medication and everything. It was the same thing. I didn't know all of the things and what they were doing to my body, but I started with diet. And I saw at the time there was no, or very little social media compared to what we
Mm-hmm.
have now. And I saw the paleo diet, which isn't perfect. But I was coming from eating a big bowl of Cheerios every night for dinner and almond milk because I thought it was healthier and, like, eating processed garbage, and I switched to eating real food, and the difference I felt I was like, "Oh, I'll try it for 30 days." I did it for a few years after that because energy can improve in 30 days, brain fog can improve, your sleep can like, your skin can improve, so much can improve,
Gosh.
but you've gotta start,
And
right?
your confidence, right?
Yeah.
Because when you start to feel better, your confidence goes through the roof, and then you're like, whoa, like, and I, to your point, it's also like, I think people try to do way too much all at once.
Mhm,
And that's why people fall off the bandwagon, right? People are like, oh, I'm going to cut out all sugar. Do you know how hard? That's probably one of the hardest
mhm.
things
It's
to
a
cut
drug
out. It's a drug, right? It's a legal drug.
and socially acceptable. Caffeine and sugar,
Yes. And
right?
alcohol.
And alcohol are 3 legal, socially acceptable
Right?
drugs.
So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
it's
sugar we give to children.
and it's so and again, think about that. It's like I had just had a client the other day. I was like, I have to start getting your kid on a probiotic because I have to start switching over his gut to not be addicted and craving all this crap that you're feeding him. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that it did that. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like you are all bugs. Like your whole body is bugs. Like what do you there's good bugs, there's bad bugs, but like you have to get rid of them
Yeah.
and you
But
have to
people don't
balance
know
it.
that,
I
right?
know.
Because that's not there's no money in that. From
Correct.
a brand perspective and from the food industry perspective,
Oh
there's
my
no money.
gosh, should I tell you this? So the other day I was listening to this podcast, right? It was fascinating. So it was all about Rockefeller, John Rockefeller, the guy
Mhm.
who basically pushed that alternative medicine. Like he went from all holistic medicine, which was helping people, and I can't say the word, the C word, but healing people on a big level and pushed modern medicine down America's throat and the world's throat, right? And come to find out through this podcast that he actually was on his when he was on his deathbed, he had every holistic healer next to him and said in one of his books or something that this guy was talking about, he was like, um, only the rich and the elite are meant to have this kind of help.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like that just proves the point that like everyone who's like, oh, this is alternative. No, this is real healthcare. Like we
Mhm.
need to start taking that back because this is real healthcare. This isn't alternative healthcare. This is real healthcare.
This is the get you healthy care,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This keep you
And it's keep you thriving care, right? Like
Mhm.
and I also feel like people think that the body is meant to get all these pains and aches and all these things. It's not. Like
Yeah.
we're not meant to feel the way we feel and look the way we look. I mean, come on, people. Like it's I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's like when for a guy, and this is gonna sound fresh, but as a man, when I'm looking down and I can't see my junk, that's a problem. We might have a problem on our hands.
Yeah.
Come on.
But people don't realize, and I mean, a lot of the times too, it's like, "Well, but I'm eating pretty well and not that much has changed," but it's like you that's where the detox
The real detox.
yeah, it's about, like, what are you exposed to? It's not just about, drinking some green shakes or there's the water that we're drinking,
Mhm.
there's, like, the air that we're breathing, there's all of the chemicals and toxins in your house, there's your personal care products, there's your laundry products, like, there's so many different ways that our bodies are taking these things on, and it comes to a point where if all those chemicals and toxins were floating around in your system, you'd be really sick.
Yep.
And the body is smart, and so the body, like, grabs those things and tucks them in your fat cells because that's
100%.
a place where it protects you from getting really sick, but that's why we just keep our waist size just keeps expanding for a lot of people because all of this crap that you're coming in contact with, your body's like, "What do I do with this?" And so it's
Yeah.
just holding on to it, right?
And I mean, I feel like you and I have talked about this before where it's like This is not like oh, it's the stress. No, it's such a multifaceted, multi-structured thing that's
Mhm.
keeping you from feeling really good. Like one day it could be stress, then one day it could be stress plus parasites plus mold plus all be like people just think it's like this one like I figured it out, now I'm good. Like no, you're being hit every day, you guys. Like it's not this like blanket statement, up now I'm
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
No, like that's not, it's just not how it works. If it worked like that, we'd all be healthy,
Yeah.
right?
It's true.
Like,
It's constantly evolving too, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, even for example, like I think about salt, like sodium and the lie on sodium, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, nope, don't drink any sodium because you're going to retain water. What? That's like the biggest joke I've heard in my life.
Yeah.
I start putting people on like a teaspoon or sometimes a little bit more in water, like
It's
in
so
like
amazing.
one thing, and they're like, Matt, I don't know how, like what, or like you're some like crazy like magician, but like I just put salt in my water and I have so much energy, and I'm like,
Mhm.
no kidding,
Yeah, because
you
the
need
water
it.
can get into your cells.
Yes, you need it. So you need sodium for for that water to go literally, like you just said, to go into the cell. If you don't have that, you're not like I used to love in the past. I used to see like guys like with gallon jugs in the gym, and I'd be like, dude, you're not even like you think you're drinking all that water, but you're really not. It's like
Yeah.
hyponatremia, I think it's called, where you're like drowning your cells as opposed to like actually getting hydrated.
Yeah, people have died from
Oh
that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
it is.
And
So
it's table salt is what we should be
correct. And
avoiding,
like
right?
refined salt,
Mhm.
right? Salt
Exactly.
found in junk food and chips and cookies and cake and all that crap. Even I hate to say it, but like I don't know about you, but every time I go out to eat, I don't feel right. And it's because they don't use good ingredients. Most of these
No.
places just don't use good ingredients. And
Salts and oils
yeah,
are
yep,
brutal. Yeah. Causes inflammation in the body, does
massive.
cause you to hold on to water if it's not the right salt. If there's MSG in there, that's gonna cause other things. There's so many things in the
Food
foods.
poisoning, soy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're throwing a lot at everybody, but it's like, you know, those ads that are like, oh, click here to, you know, it's like this 40-minute long like ad and it's all a bunch of bogus. And then it's like at the end, it's like, oh, we'll give you a solution though, and it's $400. And I'm like, I'm tired of it. Can we just give people answers? Because people are craving answers, you know? And I feel like we're just like literally like blowing it all.
So, okay, so then what do we have to do? Let's talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
What is the real detox? So because we have all of these things that we are exposed to, it you can't get to the point where it's like, "Okay, I detoxed and things are good now," because you are gonna be re-exposed. We live, we have to
Mhm.
eat, we have to drink water, we have to breathe
Don't
air.
live in a bubble, right?
So we're going to be exposed to things. So what can we do to actually help ourselves, right? So it's not the green juices. It's not gonna be a solution, but I mean, ultimately, like we've said, changing the food that you're eating is gonna be a big part of it,
Hmm.
right? Looking to get rid of the processed foods, the packaged
Sleeping.
foods. Sleeping is really important. Yeah,
I
your
don't
body
think
cannot heal
people
if you don't sleep.
I don't think people understand the power of rest.
Mhm.
They don't. We are this.
Stop. No, not the salad. I won't do that again, don't worry. I threw out the other half of it.
That's hilarious. I love it. I don't think people understand like the power we get from sleeping and from rest. Like just, and I feel like again, once we talk about the detox a little bit more, people don't realize that as you detox, your body can go into this state of major fatigue
Mhm.
because it's been so exhausted trying to keep up with all the toxic load in people's bodies. And then they're like, why am I so tired? And I'm like, because you've had toxicity in your world and in your body and in your life forever.
Yeah.
And you never did anything about it until now. Right. And you and I give people, I like to give people like very actionable steps, especially nutrition is probably one of the easiest between nutrition, sleeping, and exercise. That's something that you can do right now.
Yeah.
And when I say, I don't mean going and eating a bunch of greens and eating a bunch of, you know, I don't even know, processed junk. I mean, like, guys, don't be afraid to eat meat. Don't be afraid to go eat like good quality meat. Because guess what? When you start to do that stuff and you start to eat real food, it's actually less expensive because your body doesn't need as much of it because it's so dense in nutrients, and therefore your body will react to it so much better. And what's our body largely made up of? Protein.
Protein.
And people don't eat protein, they eat crap. It's not as hard as people think it is. They just everyone goes, "Oh, it's so expensive to eat healthy." And I'm like, "It really isn't."
It isn't. It isn't. When I went to back to school, the first class that I had, the professors talked about the carnivore diet, and I was like, "What? This is nutrition school." I'm, like, surrounded by vegetarians and vegans, and this teacher is talking about the carnivore diet, and I was like, "Tell me more." And Amanda and I tried it for a month and did it for a year and a half
It's amazing.
because we
I've been on
felt
it for almost 2 years now,
amazing.
and I feel great. My lifts are so much better. I sleep like a rock. I used to sleep like crap, and I
Yep.
sleep like a rock now.
It's amazing. You
It
feel
is
like the last of the MS symptoms that I had, eating carnivore for that time, they're gone.
amazing.
Like, it's for autoimmune stuff, for health stuff, it's just helpful because, like, you don't realize all the chemicals and toxins that you're getting from the vegetables until you cut them out. Hence, I had the, like my stomach I was it was like a thunderstorm in there this week when I ate that salad.
I bet.
I hadn't eaten we don't eat meat carnivore mostly, and so my
Yeah.
body was just like, "Mm-mm."
No, what are you doing to me? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And even when
So
even people who test well for stuff like that, I'm still like, yeah, like you really don't need it, right? You still don't really need it, but if you want to have a salad, sure, you test for certain things, that's fine. But like everything again, like people, this is where it's like going back to glyphosate. There's glyphosate on all that stuff,
mhm,
all
yeah,
of it.
yeah. I mean, organic is a better option. It's still not perfect, but
No.
that's gonna be a better option for you, and then one of the big things too with salads is the dressings. They're almost always are gonna have soybean oil or canola oil in them and a ton of sugar,
Yep.
right? 'Cause they taste like
And
crap if they don't,
and
so
that can again that canola oil just completely, like I've had canola oil not in a long time have I had it, but like whenever it's like in something, I will sleep like complete crap that night and wake up with a massive headache
because 'cause you're inflamed.
because it's so inflamed.
Mhm.
And again, people are like, "Why do I get a headache when I eat?" And I'm like, "Because your gut and your brain are literally connected." I don't think people understand that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and, like, sugar and
Oh my god.
inflammatory oils are the biggest contributors. Well, there's other things too, but those are really big ones when it comes to nutrition
Yeah.
is gonna be sugar, which is in everything packaged that you buy, and they call it different things so that you can't
Mhm.
find it easily, but sugar
And
and
they don't have to put it on the label if it's under a certain amount. I
yeah,
mean,
yep, exactly, and I've heard too that, like, nutrition labels can be off by as much as 25%.
yep.
So,
So
yeah.
that's also pretty scary when you think
Mhm.
about it, right?
Yeah,
Because you're not even being told the real truth, even
yeah,
though it's on the label.
yeah,
I had
and
a I had a client
they
text
don't
me
put
like a
glyphosate on a label.
right. Oh yeah, God forbid. I had a client text me about ice cream, and it was keto, and I was like, just because something has keto on it doesn't make it good for you.
Yeah, really don't touch it if it has
Like,
keto on it.
please don't. Again, like Amanda said earlier, marketing, guys. It's all
Mhm.
about marketing. When you are on a specific diet or on a, and this is why I don't like to call anything a diet. It's a lifestyle, right? When you just live and you know, like, I feel great when I eat meat. I feel great when I drink water with like salt or electrolytes or what have you. And then, no one's saying you can't live. Like, there are certain options that are like there's certain like sweet options. Like keto cups are one of my favorite things to just have that little something. It's like a little chocolate, a little whatever, but it's under, I think it's under a gram of sugar, and it's like monk fruit sugar. So like there are options. I think people just don't know. You know, they don't know because you go into any store and you're like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, right? Because there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much to decipher. And if you don't know, then you won't do well.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of people, when keto became a big deal, like a lot of people started doing the keto diet
Hmm.
and lost a ton of weight. So
Yep.
then it was trendy. And
Yep.
so then a lot of brands were like, well, I want in on this. That's
Right.
why. Like there's like a whole aisle of keto stuff.
Oh
And
God.
yeah, if you look at it, at the ingredients on the back, it's full of garbage most of the time.
And like cheese, like
Yeah, my goodness.
so much cheese.
Yeah.
Kate,
Are you
what's cheese?
constipated on keto? That's why.
Right?
All
Kate,
the cheese.
what is cheese, Kate? What is that?
Mold, technically,
Yay!
if you think about it.
I watched this cooking show the other day, and it was like all about cheese because I was just curious. You know when you're just curious, and he was like, "Oh, we literally inject mold into our cheese," and I was like, I almost threw up.
Was it blue cheese?
Yep, it was so gross.
Yeah.
I,
It never goes bad because it starts moldy.
oh, guys, I just the whole mold situation really just makes me want to die. Like I can't.
I heard something today actually that 70% of homes have mold in
Yep.
them, which is crazy.
I had mold in my house in my condo. No lie, it's still not. It's the mold's out, but I still have a bare wall because no one can come out and fix it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like new homes too. You're not
Yep.
safe just because you're in a new home.
And depending on like what state you're in too, like it could be more drastic than others. Like no one is safe from it, and it could be in your work location, it could be in your car, it could be in your. I found it in people's headboards. I found it
Mhm.
in people's like driver's seats
Yeah.
and water bottles, and I mean it's disgusting. Like, oh, don't get me started.
No, I was gonna say water bottles is a really big culprit
It is.
because like how many days in a row do you use your water bottle without
I mean, I
washing?
clean mine every single day because it's just now ever since I heard that I was like, I'm washing this sucker every day. I don't care. So
Coffee
gross.
cups. Coffee cups are bad too, right?
Ugh.
Because stuff just like builds up in there and it's like, oh, it's just whatever. It's
Like
just
again, people don't realize like bacteria gets into your water and your water bottle, and it's
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's again, it's not like again, we're not going to live in a bubble, but it's like be aware of it so that you know how. And then we're going to talk about how to help you and how to get rid of stuff because that's also important, right? Like we've talked about the nutrition aspect of it. We've talked about moving and staying healthy, right, and sleeping. And now I think we should talk about like the testing part of it, right? And really helping people find results because we've helped how many people in the past couple months especially just like finding answers. And like I have one about the golfer. I'll tell it. I think that's a good one, right? But I mean, I don't think people realize how much easier it is and how much more effective it is to get the results that they want and to feel better than they ever have.
Yeah, it's true. It's I mean, even like I know you work with a practitioner, I work with a practitioner, and
Mhm.
we are practitioners, right?
Mhm.
But it's still it's about having someone to help you dig deeper,
Yep.
and that's, like, the whole point of what we do as well, right, with quantum
Yep.
nutrition testing is that we can test your body to figure out why are you having the issues that you're having? Why are you having the headaches? Why do you have the runny nose? Why are you having the allergies? You've been lied to about those,
Mhm.
very much so. Why are you having all of the problems that you're having? Medicine's not going to tell you
Nope.
because they're not taught, first of all, to be able to figure out what's the cause. They're going at things and saying, what can I give you to make the symptoms less of a problem?
Right.
But there's still a problem. They're not finding the reason.
And again, I think a lot of people, off of what you just said, you were talking about a second ago, is like people think it's normal to have those
Mhm.
symptoms. They think a runny nose is normal. And like, granted, like, yes, that is normal. It's draining, it's trying to drain your body naturally, right?
Yep.
But I don't think people realize that like having seasonal allergies is normal. for women having like off menses is normal, or being grumpy and grouchy during your is not normal. Like none of those things, bloating, like that's not normal. But people
Heartburn,
think,
all of them.
yeah, they
Yeah,
think it's normal.
yeah.
And that's the biggest, like the saddest thing for me is people thinking that those symptoms are normal. I mean, I was told when I was going through my like I was used to be almost 300 pounds. Like I was always told that that last bit, oh, it's all in your head, like you're just anxious. That doesn't even make sense.
Mhm.
That the last bit of my weight is due to me being anxious and depressed? Huh? And they did all the lab tests on like do nuts affect me, or am I sensitive to anything, and all this stuff, and it was like I wasn't testing for anything, and all they could tell me was it's all in your head. You just need to like relax.
That's the best. Hearing it's
What?
all in your head.
What? But then we're
Well,
crazy for when we find somebody by like pushing on their arm, or you know doing quantum or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, okay.
exactly. I had that too. I had no period for 5 years, and I went to, like, a gynecologist who was supposed to be this really good gynecologist. It was a woman, let me preface it with that,
Wow.
and she was like, "Oh, well, your lab test came back as normal. It must be all in your head." I was like,
That's not an answer.
"All in my head? No, I would know." It's 5
You're
years.
just crazy because you're not getting your period.
Yeah, it must be all in your head. From a woman. I was like,
Wow.
"What?" Yeah, and
That
yeah,
just goes to show you how bad it is.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
I
I
had
mean,
a,
so
I
many
want to,
people have heard that,
oh
right?
my gosh.
Or
So,
it's a normal part of aging.
uh, that kills me.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, your knees cracking like that? You're just aging. It's fine.
Mhm.
That's not fine.
Yeah.
That's not right. You have glyphosate on your bones. Get it out. Get it out. So I
Yeah.
want to talk about that golfer for a second, because that's a big one that I feel like most people could probably relate to. I don't golf, right? But this guy was blaming, I'm trying to figure out how to preface this. Came in, was like a massive sweater. I used to be a massive sweater. It's a sympathetic overdrive of your nervous system, right? Like if you're sweating like that, it means that you are so stressed, and your cortisol and your sympathetic nervous system is just on overdrive, and you need help to bring that down, which both of us can help you with.
Mhm.
And but he was massively sweating. He was he had this like pain in his gut that he would get all the time, and he always, because he was outside, he was like, oh, it's the sun. And while we get radiation from the sun, that wasn't the real culprit. The real culprit was he was so hot, he's on a golf course, doesn't realize that he's being hit by pesticides, glyphosate, and all these chemicals every single time he's out there. On top of that, all the radiation that's opening his body and his brain from the sun, his cell phone, the cell phone towers, all this stuff, and his body is totally out of balance. But nobody, and I mean, he went to every specialist,
Mhm.
every doctor, even chiropractors around here, and not one person could give him an answer. He finally came to me about 2 months ago, and he just came to me on, I think was it yesterday? He was like, I played 9 rounds of golf, no pain, hardly any sweating. Like, what did you do? And I was like, I listened.
Yeah.
Just like you do. That's, guys, like our greatest gift is listening, right? And I don't think people don't listen enough. And as practitioners, we are not only trained to listen to you, we're also trained to see the things that you might not even see,
Yeah.
right? We're trained to listen so deeply that you might say something, or we might hear congestion in you, or we might see, oh, you're lagging, or oh, this, or oh, whatever. We might see that, and you might go, how did you even know? And it's because we're trained to listen to that and
Yeah.
hear your body language, right?
Exactly, to your body as well is what I was thinking on that. Like, our body is talking to us all the time and trying to send us messages, and we're so conditioned to not listen
Yep.
at this point, right?
Yeah.
And, like, when someone, yeah, I push on your arm or I test you quantumly, I'm tapping into your body and hearing the messages that the body is giving off, right? And we're
Yep.
so conditioned to not hear those anymore. I mean, it's no different than like, a cell phone. We're talking from the different parts of the world right now
Yeah.
on computers, but what's the difference, right? It's
There isn't one.
everything is energy. It's all bounced around. We're all connected. And yeah, it's just finding someone who will listen to you and who can.
And that you can trust. I feel like trust is such a massive part of this because you really are like opening up to people over time on a pretty deep level, right?
Mhm,
Not to scare anyone off, but like we are here to help. And we're not therapists by any means, but we are definitely here to guide you on that journey because it can be tough. Like we've experienced that, right? It's a tough journey. And you need someone that is here to help you and here to listen and not here to just like give you 2 minutes or 5 minutes or however long, like we're not here to do that,
yeah,
you
like, you can
know?
only talk about one problem, that's all you get to
That's
talk about
it.
at this appointment.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're over here like 5, 6, 10, 20. What?
Tell me everything.
Yeah.
We want all of the information,
All
right?
the details, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I find also just like wild is how little time you're given on the other
Mhm.
side of the fence.
Yeah.
you know and you're trying again we're giving solutions, we're giving practical solutions, and it's all for you. It's not like, oh, this is the same program as this person over here. No, like everyone is. That's the other thing too, everyone is so different. So I always tell people, I'm sure you do too, is like, don't compare yourself to anybody else because your journey is completely different than your mom's, than your
Mhm.
sisters, than your husband, than your wife, than anything, right? Like my biggest pet peeve is when people are like, well, how come she? And I'm like, she's different than you.
Yeah,
She has a
exactly.
different microbiome than you. She has a different circumstances than you. She has kids and you don't have kids. Like everything is different,
Yeah,
you know?
it can be. We were talking about this the other day about how it can be 2 people, like, Amanda, my partner, and she's gonna hate me for that, for calling her my partner,
Why?
she hates the word partner. Um, so my wife and I are
We love you,
approximately
Amanda.
the same height. We look similar, similar body size, similar everything, but
Hmm.
we're on very different protocols. Even though we live in the same house, we eat a lot of the same things, we're breathing the same air, our days are different. Our routines are there it is, howdy. Our routines are different. Like, there's so many different things for each person, even if you're in a very similar situation. And
Yeah.
it's true. Everyone has to be dealt with differently, right?
Yep.
And that's where, like, we work with people one-on-one, and that's where it's helpful because it's like, "Okay, what does your body need? What's going on with your body? What are the causes for you
Yep.
versus, yeah, like a blanket kind of, oh, you have, whatever. So let's put you on this thyroid medication because
Right.
that's the thing that we give to everyone who's dealing with those symptoms. But that doesn't take a look at any of the things in your life.
Right.
They don't ask you, are you pooping every day? They don't ask you, how are you sleeping? Are you stressed out? What are you eating?
Yep.
There's so much information missing, but it's just like, oh, okay, let's give you this, and then we'll wait and see.
Right. Well, and people also don't realize that the body's constantly changing too.
Mhm,
So, yeah, you might be on a protocol. We might give you dosing for a protocol, and that is like, oh, people are like, oh, when do you need to see me next? I'm like, next week. They're like, huh? And I'm like, next week. What are you talking about? Your body's always changing, guys. Like this isn't like one cut and dry thing. Your body is getting healthier, it's getting cleaner, you're exposed to more things. Like I had a client literally today that was like, why do you need to see me in, because this one I'm seeing like every 2 weeks. So she's like, why do you need to see me in 2 weeks? I was like, because look at where you were 2 months ago from not seeing me for 2 months to now, and the reverse that's happened because
mhm.
your body needed more or less of something,
Yeah,
right? Your body, it's always changing, and
yeah,
people don't realize that. They don't realize that as your cells get healthier and as they die and cells some die, come out, and the cycle of life always happens, right? Like people don't realize like it's going to switch. Sometimes it won't, but I don't think I've ever had um, since I started cleaning my body. I don't think I've ever had a session with my practitioner that I didn't change in some way, or that like one supplement didn't move.
There's been very few. I've had like
Right?
a
Maybe a couple, a
few,
handful.
but in a year.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Like it even, and it could be one, but that one increase could change the whole game for you, right? I
mhm.
think people get really trapped into this, like, oh, well, why do I need to see you for 15, 20, 30, whatever minutes? And it's because, well, I need to see what's going on. I need to see if things are coming down, if things are going up. I need to see, like, we can check levels, we can check all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And on top of the levels of stuff, it's also like as your dosage is changing, it's very hard to not admit that like you're getting better and it's because your body is shifting into this other direction. But if you're not willing to like trust and realize that like the information I'm giving you is real and you're healing on such a deep level, but you are all of a sudden going to not trust me, that doesn't make sense, you know?
Yep.
And that's the true rebalancing is like we want they should be ebbing and flowing. It shouldn't be this like stagnant thing. That's not life.
Yeah. It's true. And it's going to be in steps. And there's going to be weeks where you make like huge leaps forward. And there's going to be weeks where you come back a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, like as long as we're moving in the right direction, we're succeeding, we're winning. Right.
100%.
And so, okay. So you want to talk about detoxing. So what are what's the first thing that has to be happening before you'll start
You need to
working
poop.
every single day, at
Twice
least
a day.
once?
Like I'm at that point. I'm like, if you're like, I know a client who literally didn't go for a week. Wasn't go literally would go once a week.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
I was like, how? How?
That'd be
I'm
awful.
I'm dying if I don't go twice, like once a day. Twice a day. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's awful. You guys need to poop.
You're full of toxins if you're not pooping.
You're
Like,
full of
everything that
shit.
you
Like
you're full of shit, yes. But you're full of toxins too. Like, that's the main way that our body is gonna clear toxins out of our system is through pooping and excess hormones.
mm-hmm.
Especially for a woman, if you're, through your cycling years specifically, but, like, things are not going to things are not going to clear your system properly if you're not pooping
Yeah.
every day.
And we don't want these toxins, guys. The reason why we say bowel is because we don't want these toxins coming out of your skin.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
ugh. I will
exactly.
say, that was the one thing, because I wasn't at this point in my life a coach yet or, into quantum yet. And if there's one thing I regret, it's not knowing that I needed to get drainage going first because I wasn't regular back in like this was like a couple of years ago, but I wasn't regular. And I was getting like pimples and like all these things. And I was like, what is going on? And it was like things like parasites were trying to come out of my skin. And I was like, this is embarrassing. Like,
Yeah,
so if you guys need to be going to the bathroom every day.
yeah. And I mean, we won't even start people on a detox protocol, on a
Nope.
parasite protocol, if they're not pooping,
Agreed.
because you're gonna have problems. You're not gonna feel well.
Yep.
And, like, that's not the point, is to make you feel like crap. Uh, the point is to, like, flush the toxins out of your system, but we need to make sure, as Matt said, drainage, that's a really important thing that we focus on, is making sure that the systems are all working properly to move things out of your system. Because if
Yes.
we start killing parasites and you're creating, like, a little parasite graveyard inside of yourself because you're not moving
Oof.
face. 'Cause you're not moving them out of your body efficiently and effectively, you're gonna feel horrible.
Yep.
So, drainage, making sure you're pooping regularly.
Your lymph system is included in that.
Yeah, and your lymph system, like your brain drains into your lymph system, your lymphatic
Lymphatics.
system
Yep.
drains into your brain. So we need to make sure that everything is functioning properly in the body to
Yep.
start moving things out from the system.
Yep. And
Hydration
supporting. I
is
think
really
I think the
important.
next step on top of drainage is supporting the organs that are stressed, right? Because
Yeah.
even when if organs are stressed out, that detox is going to be brutal.
Mhm.
Brutal.
Yeah.
And it's
Do
already, I mean, we're not sitting here saying like nothing, it's going to be peachy keen even with all this stuff, because it's not, right? It's still, there are still some painful points, but again, you have to go through some pain to get to the other side, right? We've all had to, right? um, but I think if you're draining one and then you're supporting things too, then that detox, when you do, start that detoxification cycle, it's easier,
Yeah.
you know?
And, like, when things start to get better, you'll feel so much better
Yep.
too. Like, I've had clients that come in and they're like, "Oh, my mother-in-law was commenting how amazing my skin looks." And she's like, "I'm not doing anything different. I'm just following your protocol." Or, "I have energy that I didn't have before," or, "I'm not hitting the snooze button as much as I used to."
Yep.
Or, like, my mind's clearer, like, I can focus better. There's so many things that get better, but it's like, why were those things not good to begin with?
Right.
When it was all of the crap in your body that was causing things to not work properly.
And that might not even be like just your typical bowel movement. There could be just like fecal matter
Mhm.
in your body that's not even necessarily like part of like the bowel system or like what you ate last night. It's just
Going
like
in.
dead waste. And it sounds gross because it is gross. Like you just have dead waste just like sitting in your body. That's disgusting. And like you don't want that. And it's so funny because I hear people that are like, "Where were you when I went and got my colonoscopy like 3 years ago?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like that's another lie. Like I can't take it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I do think for sure, like drainage for sure, and not like a week of drainage, making sure you're like consistently going to the bathroom.
yeah. And, like, the point is not, when people aren't going to the bathroom, what's the go-to? Is laxative,
Correct.
right?
Or
And the
Metamucil.
point Mhm,
Or
Metamucil.
Metamucil.
The point is, like, why are you not pooping? What's the reason? Why is your body holding on to these things? And there's so many reasons that could be the case.
Oh, many
That
reasons.
could be emotional, that could be parasites, that could be mold, that could be
Chemical, metal.
dehydration, yeah, chemicals. There's so many reasons that you could
It could
be.
be food. You're eating too way. So many people don't realize that when you eat a lot of sugar and bread and starch, it blocks up your system so much.
Yeah,
And people get so irritable when they eat like starchy foods and when they eat a lot of bread, obviously because of the glyphosate in that, but not the gluten, not the whole gluten craze of we need to be gluten free. No, you don't need to be gluten free. You need to get the glyphosate out of your body. Okay, great, good talk. So yeah, I feel like it comes down to knowing that it's like it's a multifaceted thing. It's not just one thing that's keeping you from that. Oh, I
yeah,
love him, Amanda. I love Outwitting the Devil. It's so good.
yeah. Clean out the sewers, exactly, right? Like, if we're leaving
100%.
stuff hanging around, you wouldn't just, like, not clean your house or not clean your
Some
bathroom.
people would.
But, like, the inside your body is no different. We need to be cleaning that out and making sure that things are moving properly.
I think
And
he says
so
in that book, he says like, oh, the fastest way is to get people addicted to food and sugar so that it is like a sewage, basically, right? So it makes complete sense. Clean out your sewer.
yeah, and that book was from the '30s, which is
He knew.
crazy.
He knew.
He did.
Damn. Ugh. Gross.
Okay. So we've got the bowels moving. What are the other things you focus on for detox?
For sure, bowels. When I'm in studio, I do try to get people's bodies to open up too, like on a like a not just like a supplemental level. I try to make sure that they're drinking a ton of water because I think that's another big one is like people just don't drink enough water, right? And your whole body is water. Like you need it, right? Your brain needs it, your body needs it, everything needs water. What
It's
about
true.
you?
I heard an analogy that was funny. Imagine going down a water slide with no water,
Oh, ow.
right?
That's horrible.
That's that's what can happen in your system. If we think
Yep.
constipation, if you're not drinking enough water, stuff gets stuck. Stuff doesn't move well. And so if you're having,
Water
constipation issues,
transports.
yeah, are you drinking enough water? And good water too. We wanna make sure, like, don't drink tap water.
Mm.
There's so much garbage and, the cities will say to you, "Oh, we have this great filtration system and whatever." I had a customer come in the other day who said to me, he's from Germany, and he's like, "Why is there so much chlorine in your water? It's like I'm drinking a pool." I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know what to say to that. But he's like, "They put fluoride in your water too. Why did they do that?" I had to bite my tongue. But it's true. There's a lot of crap in our waters. I mean,
Yep.
people's medicine cabinet ends up ultimately in the water system as well because you're going to pee out some of what you're taking.
There's testosterone in the water.
There's birth control pill in the water.
Yep.
There's so many things in the water, so we wanna make sure we're drinking clean water. I know distilled is my first choice
That's what I have.
as
Yeah.
well. And then some people will say, "Oh, but that's dead water." Okay. You can replace minerals, though, and a lot of the
Yep.
minerals that are in the tap water to begin with are not good quality minerals that your body can use anyway.
They're toxic metals.
Yeah. So you can use distilled water, which is like clean water, and add minerals back into it. But we want to make sure that, yeah, the water that you're putting into your system and like drinking lots of it, you want to make sure that you're not drinking a whole bunch of chemicals and
Yep.
pharmaceuticals and metals and parasites and other toxins
Yeah.
and stuff there as well. So, yeah, okay, so we need to make sure we're pooping properly. We need to be drinking a lot of water. And then
Exercising. Because
exercising is a
sweating.
really good one. I mean, you do wanna be sweating, like, your guy that was
Yeah.
sweating like crazy, why was he sweating like crazy? Yes, we know that there was the glyphosate was a
Right.
problem and the radiation, but what is the body doing when you're sweating?
Getting
It's
rid of
trying to
toxins.
push stuff out,
Yep.
right? It's like if you're coughing or you're
It's not a
sneezing.
bad thing. I think we look
No.
at these things as like
Oh,
we don't like it,
no. Mhm.
but it's not a bad thing that it's happening. It's happening for a reason. It's just like coughing and sneezing. Like those things are good.
Yeah.
We're just told, "Oh, you're sick."
Yeah.
No, you're not sick. You're toxic. They took that word and they switched it to make you fear drainage.
That's true. You're expelling things that don't belong in your body.
Yeah,
Explosive diarrhea is no different. Also not fun,
not
but
fun, but
your
better
body's
out than in.
trying to get stuff out as quickly as and efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's we interrupt the things the body is doing, and what we need to recognize is that, like, the body doesn't make mistakes. One of
Hmm.
the doctors that I love to listen to talks about that all the time, and he's like, "The body doesn't make mistakes." So we look at things and say, "Okay, why is the body doing that? And how can I help the body
Yep.
instead of trying to say, like, slap on the wrist? No, stop
Yes.
doing that."
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. It's so that is the biggest thing that I feel like people are like, again, like we were talking about earlier, it's like the body is meant to feel good. It's not meant to
Mhm.
feel bad. So because you might feel bad doesn't mean it's normal.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah,
a lot of people
exactly.
misconstrue that. They kind of get locked into this like, oh, it's normal to feel like this because they've been feeling like that for so long, you know? And again, people have like back pain and stuff like that. Like guys, if you're not going to the bathroom, you're gonna have pain because you
Yep.
have toxic stuff just sludged in your body. Like when I got this one client going to the bathroom, she was like, I have so much energy. I was like, I bet you do.
Yeah,
I bet you do.
yeah, because your body's not fighting against itself
Yeah.
anymore.
And even like all the stress and stuff, like all that stuff, people don't realize. Like I tell people this all the time. Your body is getting if your body is getting inflamed, that is a sign something is off.
Mhm.
And we can help you with that. And we want to help you with that, right? It could be stress, it could be all these things that we've been talking about. But sometimes it's actually pretty simple, right? It could be something as simple as like you added something in that your body doesn't like,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes it's as
exactly.
simple as like we give you a program and we go through your food and all of that, but then it's something as simple as what did you do the past week? What did you do over the past 3 days that is causing that? Because I always say, what changed?
Mhm.
What changed in the past couple days that made you go from feeling amazing to now feeling
Oh, God.
terrible?
Yeah. What's the trigger? That's what it's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
What's the trigger?
Yep.
What's causing this to happen,
Yep.
right? I
Yep.
know, yeah, for illness and stuff too, like, that was a huge, like, aha moment with my autoimmune stuff, my MS stuff, was recognizing that what's the trigger that's causing me to have the problems that I'm
Yeah.
having? And when I removed all of the foods that were causing issues for me, the Cheerios every day and, like, all the
Those
crap
aren't good for you, but it says heart healthy.
they were multigrain though, come on,
I
the
love
good ones, they weren't Honey Nut, come on.
But those are even better. They taste delicious.
But, like, I removed all the harmful foods. I removed, like, I used to drink alcohol, I used to stay up late at night, I used to, like, do all kinds of things, and it's
Yep.
like, "Oh, okay, I removed all those things, and suddenly all of my symptoms" not suddenly, but over time, all of my symptoms are gone,
Suddenly.
and I'm not on medication, and,
Yep.
like, in my mind, and medicine will fight me on this, but in my mind, I don't have MS anymore
You don't.
because I don't if I don't have the mechanism of disease.
And the thought of disease.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it's letting go of some emotional stuff as well is really important to focus on, but, um, it's figuring out what's the trigger, what's causing your body to respond in the way it is.
Yeah.
And you can think about that, it's like, "Oh, okay, it gives you more power," right?
Oh my gosh.
Like, this wasn't handed to me.
I don't think people realize how much they've given up their power.
Mhm.
And it makes me sad. I don't think people, when I see people, clients that have given up their power so much so that they feel like almost like up against a brick wall, I'm like, wow, like we've really come to this place, haven't we, where we are just so lost on what the body can do
Yeah,
and how powerful a balanced body is.
yeah, it's true. When you get rid of the things that are interfering and the things that are stopping you from being healthy, it's amazing how
Yeah.
healthy you can be,
Yeah.
right? So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That was good.
that was good.
Do you guys have fun? We had fun. We threw a lot of truth bombs at you guys today. I know it can be a lot, so um, start with one thing at a time. That's the thing I think both of us could tell you is find someone that you trust. If it's me, if it's Kate, find someone that you can trust and let us care for you because that's what we're really here to help you guys do is to care for you and we want you to be better because we
Mhm.
know we have both been through the not feeling good, the not the symptoms. We've been through all of that and we know it's not normal. So we want to help you.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I've been in the as much as looking back, it's hard to remember, I've been in the victim position too, of
Yep.
feeling like I got dealt a shitty hand, and I thought, like, "Why do all these things keep happening to me?" And, "There's nothing I can do about this." When you start to recognize, like Matt said, like, a lot we've given away a lot of our power, and when you start to recognize that ultimately you have so much more say in your health and in what you can do for yourself than you realize.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's autoimmune, if it's, whatever illness that you're dealing with, even if you move one step forward or you feel 1% better tomorrow or next week or next month, wouldn't that be worth it?
Oh my
And
gosh.
then from there, it's like, it's it's not the, "Okay, well, that's good. I changed my diet, I feel better, I'm done." It's, "What else can I do?"
Right.
The next
What's
thing.
next? Yep.
Yeah. When you
And the
start to
body
feel better.
opens like an onion. So there's
Mhm.
always going to be something that the body's like, we're ready. What's happening
Yeah,
now? Right. And I think that's where
exactly.
I always tell people it's like, it's never done. It's just never done. It might get easier, but it's
Mhm.
never done, you know?
Yeah. And it's exciting when stuff starts to change and stuff starts to happen, it's just like, "Holy crap." Like I did this. And
Yeah.
you start to see and experience other people struggling, and it's like, "Wow, oh my goodness, that used to be me." Like,
You're
that
meant to
I can
thrive. I
help.
don't think people get that. You are meant
Yeah.
to thrive. You're meant to feel good, great, amazing, right? You're not
Mhm.
meant to be a victim. You're
Yeah.
not.
How does it serve
Stop
you?
running from that tiger every day. Stop. Like get off the racetrack and stop running and just take a second and look in the mirror and go, yeah, this isn't normal. Because we know it's not, but this is where it's like, you need to know it's not normal. We're here to help, but you need to make that first step, right? We're here to help, but you need to be the one. We can't do it for you.
Yeah. We can show you what's going on though.
Totally. Pretty quickly too.
Yeah, exactly. So the show notes for this episode, there is the links to get more information and learn more about each of us. So if you're interested or you found either of us that you wanted to learn more, you can click on our links. You can send us messages as well.
Yep.
Because we'd be more than happy to help and to help you figure
Totally.
out what's going on and what your body needs to get back into balance this summer.
Awesome. Great talk. Thanks for
Thank
having me
you.
on.
We should do this again.
Totally. I'm down. You know
Awesome.
me.
Have a great day, everybody, and thank you for watching.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.